What's up, everyone? Welcome to Now Next Never. I'm Nicole Casperson, and with me are my co-hosts Alana Saparu and Zaid Admani. What is up, guys? It is Tuesday. Zaid, kick us off.
Yes, we got great stories today. Starbucks stops its stock buybacks. Howard Schultz claims the money is saved for the baristas, or does he have alternative motives? And then over 40% of young men now own cryptocurrency. But what does this mean for the future of crypto? Delano?
Zaid and Nicole, high inflation is making it impossible to get out of debt. Is there any hope? Guess what? We have trusted money expert and author of Financial Adulting, Ashley Feinstein Gerstley, in the house. She's going to tell us how to do it. So guess what? Stick with us and make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell because we're getting started right now.
All right, is Starbucks ready to ditch the baristas? Starbucks announced that they are suspending their stock buybacks. The previous CEO, Howard Schultz, is back. Now, this guy is a legend, guys. Like, this guy is credited for making Starbucks into what it is today. He originally became CEO back in 1986, from 1986 to 2000, and then he became CEO again from 2008 to 2017. He's back for the third time, and what does he do as soon as he comes back? The dude suspends stock buybacks. Now, what a stock buyback is, a lot of times companies will use their money to buy back their shares that are in the stock market to reduce the number of outstanding shares that should help increase stock prices. And Starbucks had previously announced that they were going to be doing $20 billion of stock buybacks over the next 3 years. And they had already spent $12 billion in 2019 and 2020 to do stock buybacks. But Howard Schultz is putting an end to that. He said in his meeting on Monday when he first took over as CEO that he is not in the business to make every single decision based on the stock price. So that's pretty interesting. Now, my question to you guys is, what is this guy's moves? He has said that he wants to invest into the company, into the business, into the labor force. But Starbucks is dealing with some labor issues right now, right? A lot of Starbucks locations are unionizing, which is going to drive up labor costs for Starbucks. So is Mr. Schultz going to end up putting that money towards innovation, like maybe putting some robot baristas and help maybe just getting rid of these human baristas? Or is he going to increase the pay? Like, what's his move here from not doing these stock buybacks? I mean, what do you guys think, Nicole?
Yeah, so a couple things here. Buyback programs are popular among investors, but the practice has faced a lot of criticism from labor unions, even the SEC and President Biden, who proposed stricter stock buyback regulations for company execs. Schultz here is trying to build that support for the company. He's trying to kind of dissuade employees from unionizing. And that has become increasingly popular, though, unionizing. There is a Gallup poll that shows 68% of respondents said that they dig unions, and that is the highest level ever since 1965. But Starbucks, you're right, is facing a number of other workforce challenges outside of just tight supply chains. They're facing a rising generation of workers that seek new accountability from the businesses that they actually work for. So Starbucks is in a tight spot. They either modernize with the changing employee landscape and offer certain things that these employees are looking for, or they say bye to the barista, and those people won't stand for working for a workplace culture that is more so of the past, kind of that before COVID lifestyle. So I don't know, maybe I'm gonna walk into Starbucks one day and get a oat milk cappuccino from a robot. It might be possible.
Nicole and Zaid, I definitely think they brought Schultz back because you guys have that one friend that's so good in different groups of friends, right? That person that can navigate one friend group that's like totally different from the other friend group. That's Schultz. He's going to come in and not only is he going to appease the shareholders because he took back away buybacks, but he said he's going to invest in the company in other ways. And they're probably going to invest in technology that Zaid was mentioning to make things, one, a lot cheaper by using technology, and two, he does a good job. He's fighting the union. I don't know, we can decide whether we think that's good or bad. Obviously for employees, they want unions, but he's done a good job in the past of fighting that union and lowering costs for Starbucks in a place where they're already challenged on the cost and labor front, right? And so he's that person that can kind of navigate both of those waters, and that's why they brought him back. And if you think of Starbucks, they are actually having an increased amount of mobile orders come on through their total orders now, right? So if you go into the store, there's a lot likelihood chance now that when you go into a Starbucks store that you're going to see someone that's working on mobile orders as well as in-store orders, right? And that's becoming more increasingly prevalent. So there's a lot of headwinds for a lot of these like bigger companies and what they're doing with labor costs and shortages. So I think that's why they brought him back, and it's going to be interesting to see what he does going forward.
The role that Starbucks plays in our lives now is like so different than it was like even 5 years ago, right? Like before it was like you go to the coffee shop, you know, you sit down, you write a book or whatever, or get a blog post done or get some work done. And there's probably wasn't that many customers coming through. Now with mobile orders, like Delano, you said there's a lot more mobile orders. People are just coming and going. With a lot more pressure on the baristas. And that's why they're probably unionizing. Now, one thing that Howard Schultz did say, he did say that he was not anti-union, but there's a big but. He said that he couldn't have built Starbucks from a handful of stores into the giant coffee chain that it is today if there were unions involved. So, you know, he's kind of playing both sides here. And like Delano, I think you made a really, really good point there. Like he's the rock star, right? He's the guy that like comes in, they can get things done. So let's see if he can kind of navigate this issue right now.
Exactly, Schultz. This is not an ad, but we got to keep these coming. All right, we got to keep these coming.
Wow,
Are you getting did Howard Schultz pay to say that, man? Is that
No,
what it is?
Howard, I didn't get a check, Howard. I haven't got a check.
No, Delano willingly goes to Starbucks every day to get a black coffee for
exactly.
$5.
Nicole's like, that's not smart. And I agree. He's got to be hooked, Nicole. I can't get away from it. But let's move on to more hooks in the story. Guys, 40% of young men have used crypto. What does this mean for the future of crypto? 1 in 5 Americans have either invested, traded, or otherwise used cryptocurrency. This is from a new NBC News poll. They also stated and revealed that half of men between the ages of 14, 18, and 49 have at least dabbled in crypto. And they also said that 40% of Black Americans have traded in crypto. So we're seeing a different demographics as well as the younger generation. We look to them for clues on what's big and what's next. Are these polls saying that crypto is the future? Crypto is obviously become mainstream, but is now the future? What do you guys think? I'll go with you, Zaid, first.
You know, I'm a little bit skeptical on this, right? Like I am a believer in crypto, right? I have more than 50% of my net worth in crypto, but I still feel like it's still a long ways away from like it becoming the future. Like I don't ever think that cryptocurrencies are ever going to replace the US dollar, no matter what those Bitcoin maxis want you to believe. I do think there's a role for crypto, like acting as digital gold. That makes a lot of sense for Bitcoin to be. And I think a lot of these other cryptocurrencies are going to act as a utility for, you know, for the Web3 future. But I don't think it's going to become like the standard way of currency or commerce in the world anytime soon, at least not in the next 10 years. Maybe beyond that, sure, but I don't think it's happening anytime in the short term, just because there's so many problems. Like we see DeFi hacks happening all the time. People are still confused with it. The security stuff isn't very good. The UI isn't very good. It's still very hard for like normal people to interact with it. And that's why I think we're kind of far away from all of that. But you know, maybe I'm just being a Debbie Downer here.
I mean, spicy takes from someone with 50% of their net worth.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay, so for me, it's like crypto just needs to uphold its promise to open access to financial systems to those underrepresented groups, to truly go that mainstream route, to truly become maybe, you know, this currency of the future. But a lot of that promise needs to be to women. According to a story by eToro, the most popular investment held by women surveyed were domestic stocks. And that was followed by crypto assets, which is, you know, a good thing, a good sign of hope. An even better sign of hope is looking to the future. The eToro study says that crypto is actually the most popular investment for women for their next investment, right? Like that future investment when they're thinking about what's next. That's really awesome. That's a great sign that we just have to be mindful, though, of half of the population to really see crypto go anywhere. You know, that study mentions just like mostly the statistics around men, but we have to remember half of the population. I'd love to see a little bit more data around female millennial investors specifically and honing in on that age group to see how they are using or involved with crypto assets. I think that would be a stronger and solid indicator to the future of crypto and where it's heading. But if there's a generation to get crypto mainstream, it's millennials, and it's, you know, Zaid, it's happening. It's just how long that will take is yet to be determined. Like, who knows how old we'll be when we're finally like, I mean, telling our kids the tale of when crypto was just getting discovered or whatever. Just getting.
Exactly. It is happening. Now I have to say, like, we do look for our generation, our peer groups, for what is next. And obviously our generation, our peer groups are they're learning, they're investing, they're building infrastructure around, you know, digital currency. So I personally think that this is something that's obviously past mainstream, but it's going to be more and more involved in our lives when you talk about digital currency, not just from the investing standpoint, but the utilities that come from the technology, like blockchain technology, what can be done around that. So I'm fully behind the fact that I think it's going to be more intertwined in our lives in the future, especially when we look at how much younger people and different demographics are adopting this, right? Like that's a big thing for me, Zaid, is that's why I'm kind of like leaning towards that way.
Yeah, well,
Totally.
From looking at the future to looking at right now, can you get out of debt when inflation is ruining your bank account? Annual inflation rate is on the rise, as we all know. It has accelerated here in the US to 7.9% in February of this year, the highest since January of 1982, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Today, we are lucky, though, to have Ashley Feinstein Gerstley. She is going to help us navigate some of this. She is the author of the book Financial Adulting. I love that. And she gives us advice on how we can be financially confident and cautious adults. So, thrilled to have her with us. Welcome to the show, Ashley.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Ashley, it's wonderful to have you on. And as a personal finance expert, I always think that we give a lot of advice that works in normal times, right? Like this is not normal times. We have inflation on the rise, and we have people that have high amounts of debt. The cost of everything is skyrocketing. Like, does our normal, paid snowball method and all those different things work right now? But I don't know. Like, what are some real steps that can be taken for people that are like not treading above water, they feel underwater? What can they do right now, Ashley, to kind of help themselves?
Yes, it's such a great question. And you're right. It's not typical times. I think number one, we have to go back to the B word, the budget. And I know budgets get a bad rep. We think of restriction and not having fun with them. But the truth is they're a plan for what we want to happen with our money. So what's coming in, what's going out. And we want to reframe that because they can be a tremendous gift to ourselves, give us peace of mind, have us understand how much we can actually put towards our debt. Because something that I see specifically with debt pay down is that it feels really good to put as much as possible towards our debt. But then if we don't know how much we can afford to put towards it, we might not have enough money for our expenses and our bills and our lifestyle. And then we end up paying it down, building it back up, and that can feel really futile. So the budget can give us that clarity. And if there's not a lot of room for fun in the budget, I am a huge fan of frugal joys. Frugal joys are free or inexpensive things that make us happy, and they can look different for each of us. So it's fun to try some of them out. But what we can do is we add these things into our lives, and they don't actually add to our expenses, because I am not a fan of deprivation. And even if we're trying to pay down debt or we have other savings goals, we want to be treating ourselves too and enjoying ourselves, and that helps us keep progress over time.
Awesome. So, see, Nicole, my Starbucks coffee is a frugal joy. All right. Ashley said it here first.
All right. That sounds good. I guess another aspect is the, and kind of, transitioning a little bit to, I really want to ask you, I know you're passionate about this, the pink tax. I was mentioning kind of that more female represented aspect before. How do you manage your finances, I guess, with that in mind? I think as women, obviously, we think about it. But maybe it's just thinking also just as consumers, how can women just navigate the pink tax with inflation, with all the things, debt? What's your kind of take there?
Yeah, so if you are a woman or you buy things for a girl or a woman, you are paying the pink tax. And the pink tax is the practice of charging women more than men for identical products and services. And in 2021, the pink tax cost the average woman around $2,300, which is significant. And it applies to clothes, toys, personal care products, many other things. So some things that we can do to mitigate or avoid the pink tax, but until pricing becomes more fair, which it needs to be, we can buy gender neutral products when they're available. We can avoid the dry cleaner as much as possible. We can price compare, price shop. And then also just question unfair pricing if you see it. So for example, if you're at your hair salon and notice that a man's cut is 1/4 of the price of the woman's cut, ask questions about it. Why is that the case? And so when we start questioning it, people have to answer us and provide some answers for that.
That makes sense. Thank you for that answer, Ashley. And one other thing I had, we're focusing so much on inflation. I think it's a fair point too, because it's at the highest levels we've seen in like 4 decades. So there's another aspect of like being frugal, but what about the aspect of like people that look at their income and like, hey, I see inflation going up. Is my income rising commensurate to how, inflation is going up? Is there ways for people to, one, look at that for themselves, and two, try to combat inflation by increasing their income in some sort of way?
Yes. So the two ways we can combat it personally in our budget is by decreasing our expenses or increasing our income. So it is, if you have negotiating is something, depending on if you are in a freelance job or you are working a salary job, it's something that I think we could be thinking about and doing all the time throughout the year. It's not this, we often think of negotiating compensation as like a one-time conversation where we go into our boss's office once a year and talk about it, but it can be something that we're thinking about, having them know we're thinking about, working towards, talking about I'm a huge fan of having a success log, for example. So when you have a win at work or something goes well with a project, to write it down and write the details of what that did for the company and the impact that had. You can also do it in your personal life. If you ever need a confidence boost, you can go read over that success log. But what I found in my own career is you think that when you have a big success, you're going to remember it and you'll have no problem bringing it up in the next meeting with your manager. But we tend to forget, and you might think, what have I been doing for the last 12 months? So keeping that log, getting to understand your market price, which is something that I talk about in the book, like knowing what my market rate is, and that will be changing with inflation. So I think a big thing, whether it's with our income, with our expenses, when it comes to what's happening in the world right now, is to be checking in often. I'm a huge fan of having money parties where it's a time to check in on your finances. So that could be looking at, today I'm going to look at what I should be earning and what a fair raise would be. Or today I'm going to be looking at how much I spent and making it fun, putting on some music, having your favorite beverage, getting cozy, and just setting aside the time to show your money some love, because if we don't carve out that time, it's just never going to happen.
Fair point.
Okay, I gotta be honest. Ashley, I'm so sad because I lost you in my ear a little bit in the middle of this, and I want to ask you like a million questions because you're just like, what you're doing is so freaking amazing, and I'm a big fan of your work here. But I'm gonna keep asking you a question anyway, which might kind of come along the lines of how much fun did you have when you did that Ariana Grande parody? Because crushing it. I mean, yeah, just love the idea. I think for me, it's like super powerful to see, even though it's like a funny parody of a music video, it's powerful to see a crew of women, doing something like this. That's not something you're seeing on YouTube every day. So yeah, I guess like, did you have that in mind when you were doing that video, or what was like the premise behind that? And I can't wait to hear about it later after you answer it.
I will relay it.
Yeah, Delano's going to help me out.
I know, I wish you could hear. So I'm so glad you asked, because it was the most fun project I've ever done. It was also the most out of my comfort zone project ever, because as you can tell from watching, like, I am not a singer, I am not a dancer, but the premise for it is,
yes,
I was at my cousin's bachelorette party and the song came on, and I was called to parody it because it has this like vibe of women power. She can do what she wants with her money, but it's not only about spending and showing what you have, it's about building that wealth and how much power that comes with it. And it was so much fun to get to do it with so many other amazing women in the personal finance space and my friends. And it was a lot more involved than I expected. If I knew how involved it was, I might have not done it. So it's good going into a project sometimes to be a little bit naive.
Ashley, one thing Nicole said, she loved that you brought so many different women, financial experts into the space to do that project with you. That's what I'll relate to her. She loved it. It was awesome.
Nice. Fantastic. Well, I mean, I would love to just keep you here and ask all the questions. I know I could definitely use all the help, right, with financial adulting. So thank you so much for creating that book, for the work that you do. Please tell the people where they can find you, where they can find the book, all of the things, so that they can start financially adulting.
Yep.
Yes, and I'm still financial adulting myself. It's a lifelong journey, but they can learn more at financialadultingbook.com, and I'm on all social media at the Fiscal Femme.
Thank you, Ashley. We appreciate
Awesome.
it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ashley.
Thank you for having me.
All right, moving on to now, next, never.
Yes.
Awesome.
Our now, next, never stories. I have now, folks. And guess what's happening right now? Elon Musk is joining Twitter's board of directors. This new appointment was shared via Twitter. The CEO of Twitter shared that Elon is joining the board after conversations over several weeks. And guess what? He's already using Twitter as his way to get shareholder input. He posted, should we have an edit button? And I'm not a big person. So I know Nicole has a big side on what she says on this. I think Zay does. I don't really care. I got to get more into my tweeting. But what do you guys think about an edit button?
Edit button. Edit. Okay, so I will say my take is that yes to the edit button. Just put a time limit on it. Or
Yes.
5 minutes? 5 minutes? 30 seconds?
yeah, like 5-10 minutes, something like that.
2 minutes. I think 10 minutes is too
10 minutes
long.
might be a little long.
Yeah.
But or you could do it like LinkedIn and some of the other sites do, and just have a note that says, hey, this was edited.
It's been edited. I like that.
And this tweet was edited, and then maybe even if you want to get extra Elon Musk, since you're like a genius and all those things, you just add like another layer of here's what the old unedited version looked like.
Yeah.
So a version
I love
history.
that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a
welcome.
good idea. They need to make it happen immediately.
You can reach out to me directly, Elon, with that idea. Well, I have next Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's historic nomination to be the first Black woman on the Supreme Court has moved one step closer after a tie vote in the Judiciary Committee. The move sets up a final confirmation vote on the Senate floor later this week. So that's pretty freaking sweet.
Amazing.
That's awesome. Alrighty, never. So guys, I have a lot of audio in my ear right now, so I'm trying to think.
Zane,
and
so
also,
do I navigate it.
I'm trying to navigate. All right, I got next, or happening never expected a fast fashion Chinese retailer Shein to be worth $100 billion.
Wow.
$100 billion. This is the most valuable startup in the world now. It's worth more than H&M and Zara combined. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I didn't know what Shein was like 6 months ago. And then I started seeing a bunch of packages come in the mail. And I'm like, honey, what is this? I had to ask my wife, like, what is all this stuff? She's like, yeah, it's this website Shein. You can buy like, you can buy clothes for like 12 bucks on here. It's like amazing. I was like, this is incredible. And they're a massive company now.
That's incredible.
It's incredible in some capacity. I personally am trying to stay away from fast fashion because of those practices, but it's a tough thing with that. Basically, long story short, it's like the clothes affordability of clothes, but the labor aspects of that are really unwell. But then it's more expensive to shop sustainably. So just another kind of, maybe that we hit on that one of these days.
I think we're probably talking about it pretty soon, huh? Go deep into it.
Comments,
right?
guys.
Yeah, someone tell us what's up and what you think. I personally try to just shop at vintage shops. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to Ashley for joining the show. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We will see you tomorrow. Bye.
We out.
Hey y'all, thanks for watching. Make sure you tune in every day. Also hit that like, subscribe, and notification buttons. We'll see you tomorrow.